Welcome to another tech update. Today it's me, David, and with you, Fez. We're going to talk through the January tech update for SODAX, and Fez is going to guide us through the board. Welcome, welcome. How are we today?
I'm good, David. I'm good. I have a apology. Generally, when I'm going through the board, I have all the cards updated with the latest. I don't have that, but I will still be able to go through everything, give updates. I will update the cards, and then we'll publish the dev update separately, or well, with the video. So by the time you get this video, the cards will actually have content in it. But let's jump through, David, and it should be short this time.
You're the most inefficient Claude bot I know.
Why would you bring that up, David? I'm hurting right now. My Clawbot died yesterday, okay? It died. I don't know what I did, and it's gone.
I'm referring to you. But yeah, we'll get your Clawbot back up and running as well. And mine. Mine's also like hampered. Let's dive right in. You have a board for us to look at? Here we go.
Yes, let's go in. Otherwise we could go into a rabbit hole of Clawbot amazingness. Okay. Let's dive in. So the first thing that that was still pending from last quarter, the savings front end, it's done. It's done. So I will, at the end of this, as we go through, let's circle back to the savings, and I'll give a bit of a preview. It's just at the moment some QA pieces. There's that. As we work through internal QA, now there'll be a new round of QA. And finally, on that, the savings piece can't really launch until we are able to migrate liquidity, which is still happening. And I'll give an update on that because essentially there's barely any interest rates, right? Until we can move some of the assets and loop against other native markets, or just leverage, I should say, not even leverage, arbitrage. That's the right word, David. When we do that, that's when we'll see interest rates come to parity across chains. And we can't really do that until we migrate the liquidity. Although if we launch without the liquidity, users could potentially come in and do that arbitrage. But in that case, because we're launching in components, first it'll be savings, then it'll be loans. So technically users can come in and use a UI for savings, but they wouldn't be able to do the loan to do the loop via the UI. So yeah. Technicalities there just because of how we're choosing to layer the launch. But on the flip side, the actual work is done in final phases, final QAing, just little optimizations here and there, and we'll give you a sneak peek after we run through the board. Okay, next up, Solver V3 announcement just dropped. So V3 is live. I think there's a video just before this. Me and David with Alex worked through it. So that is looking good. It's much faster. I do think one thing that I'm very transparent and honest, David, like we were talking average swap times 7 to 15 seconds. And this is true. The solver is doing everything it has to within that time frame of assets we hold. But when you use the UI and then, the messages go back and forth between chains, by the time you receive your funds, it's a little longer than that. It's still a mile ahead to what it was. But this is just something to note, right? Because the solver's done with the swap in 10, 15 seconds. But by the time when it's done, it's sent the messages, it's done, it's left, it's gone, it's done the swap. It's then the relays that are waiting for the block times, waiting for finality, for the message to get processed. The verifiers then verify that, hey, this message is true. This has happened on chain. And two, three times from, 3 different verification points hit. And you see seconds delayed through that. So if someone's sitting there with the stopwatch going, and that's me, David, I sit there with the stopwatch guy. So if someone's like me sitting there with the stopwatch going, oh my God, yeah, this is the reason why. But, we know a few of our arbitragers, etc., who are in the, we have a community testing group, and I won't call out names, but he, without realizing the updates, because the Solver V3 updates have been live for a week, the announcements were just a little delayed. So when he was doing his arbitrage, he straight away made a comment going, "Hey, is the update out? Because everything's gotten 10x faster. Because if you're arbitraging in that way and not waiting, it's far quicker." Anyway, so V3 is out. So components of this, so people, because you will still keep hearing me talk about we're doing optimizations with V3. The quoting module's out, and the execution part of the solver is now released. Okay, so we still have that caching, not caching. I made a mistake last video. Caching component that is done, that hasn't been implemented into the solver yet. It will get done. A little bit lower priority because we have 50 to 60,000 RPS on the solver, which is more than enough without the caching. And the next piece that I'm going to add to the board, and I will close this out, and something that focus is still on stability. Okay, so we've got all these things happening. It's far more stable. You've seen those the dashboards and like how granular we have information. The next piece is, when we integrate every chain, we create these execution modules. This is different from the actual execution component. This is the modules that connect into the dexes. Now, a lot of those have just been going through, as Alex has said, like a lot of certain components have just been coming in from the original design. Like, hey, we need to modify it in this way, and then the solver will work. We haven't really looked at it and gone, hey, if we were to rebuild it, like we rebuilt Solver V3, what could we optimize here? And if we optimize that, will it help stability? What if an optimization were to happen to this component? What would it really help? Would it help with speed? Would it increase performance? Would it help with stability? So then one of the next pieces that we're going to work through in February is we're going to redo all the execution modules because they haven't been done since V1. And that should increase, not speed, it will just increase stability a lot more. So, and if we have failed intents and stuff like that, which we do very few at times, these optimizations would stop those very few to basically none. And that's the next big piece that we're going to work through on the solver. That said, it doesn't stop us from bringing on the fleet of new chains that we've been talking about. So you'll start to see in the month of February, we will bring on chains that have been in the backlog waiting, like Nia, Redbelly, Kaya, there's a few others, and they'll come through and there'll be announcements around that. So I think, David, any questions around Solver V3?
No questions. This week, the dedicated podcast drops of us talking about this with Alex, the architect. So all questions that listeners might have are answered in there. It's a good overview. So yeah, we can move.
Okay, excellent. So then the migration of NOL. I feel like this has been a never-ending thing. So, and I don't have the card, but as you've heard me talking, it has all been dependent on Solver V3. So the Solver V3 is done. So the next dependency is the SODAX AMM. Okay, so at the moment we have balance, and balance is an AMM on Icon. So, we've recreated the new infrastructure. We have a money market on Sonic. We also have built a V4 AMM on Sonic, right? It's already done. And we need the solver, which is currently happening this week. By the end of this week, that integration will be done, and then we'll go into testing next week. But we need to integrate the solver into that. Once that's done and tested, then we can start migrating the NOL into the new SODAX AMM, which the solver is already hooked into. But until the solver is hooked into it, we can't migrate the liquidity. And this has kind of been the blocker. And the solver didn't get hooked in because we're waiting for V3 to get done, because hooking in V2 was pointless. It was, dead effort, basically. So that's where the NOL is. So the SODAX AMM, yes, we'll have other stuff get released before that because they've been in the pipeline. The SODAX AMM is IMM is a bit unique. It's not a standard, hey, we've already done PancakeSwap and Uniswap v4, etc. So it should be a copy and paste job, but it isn't because of the way we've implemented our AMM. And the difference is, we've been focused on how do we maximize generating profits with NOL and potentially users if they were supplying liquidity, etc. So, our assets kind of like BTC ETH are interest-bearing assets that have been placed into the money market and then placed into the AMM. Now, I've explained it in 2 steps, but from a flow perspective, it would just be 1 step for the user. That's how the process would happen. If someone went to supply liquidity to ETH BNUSD, there's no interest-bearing BNUSD, but the ETH would get placed into money markets or whatever interest rate that's generating, and the A assets, which is what happens when you place into an Aave, etc., you get an interest-bearing asset, will go into the AMM. And this adds a layer of complexity, because then you have to think, okay, the solver has to cater for this when it's doing, which it doesn't have to do on any other DEX, right? So our specific modules that need to get built, etc., to interact with our DEX is a different build. And that's what's happening at the moment. So just giving full context there. So by end of Feb, the goal is everyone's pushing to get so that we can get the liquidity done by the end of Feb, which gives us a clean slate for March to start. I've kind of indicated that we want to try and don't freak out, wind down the chain, Icon chain. And what I mean by that is, remove everything from balance, etc., so that it's all now happening in the new infra, and get to the point of where we've scaled down the validators and stopped emissions for ICX. The chain will still be there for Icon. Everyone can access it. You'll still be able to migrate. So when I say wind down, it's more about that, let's stop the emissions. Let's stop the need for 60, 70, 80 validators we're paying that we don't need to pay. And it's, just hindering costs, like that kind of stuff. So my target date is end of March. We're all working towards getting that done. There'll be a fleet of announcements of how all that stuff will work very soon. But with the NOL, the goal is if we can get it done by the end of Feb, then we're on track for March to start all the series of events that need to happen with the votes and, the bond removal, and then the shrinking of the thing, and then stopping of emissions. And anyway, we'll tackle that with a fresh tech update in February, end of February. But anything there, David?
Yeah, are you saying that the SODAX AMM, the SODAX system AMM on Sonic, part of the SODAX system, is done by the end of Feb, so that the NOL can commence the migration?
Yes, it should be done before mid-Feb, so that we can, through the rest of the weeks, migrate the liquidity, because we can't do it in one go. We have to do it in batches. And yeah, I'm hoping by the end of Feb, we're pretty close to most of the liquidity getting migrated.
Yep. Okay.
And there's a lot of perks there as well, right? The fees, all this has been a bit of a black box, because we still have fees happening on Icon balance that's just being held in a wallet. But once we start and get everything to the one chain, then we'll now have the fees going to the right places and getting distributed and so on and so forth. So yeah, there's so many moving parts here, but this is kind of, we're getting there. We're close. It's close to happening, and these are the final pieces that need to get done to then close it off. So that's with the migration of NOL. NEAR, so this is done. I was just before the call yesterday. I got the dates just before the call. I was trying to get the dates, and I couldn't find where it was posted. Anyway, I will update the card, but at this point, all we're doing is waiting for the final testing, because we got V3 out. Everything's done. So now NEAR is one of those chains that's at the moment going through staging testing. And this is the process. They've been done, then they get released on staging. They'll go through a suite of testing to make sure that there are no bugs, etc. And staging is like production. It's just... so we go, and if there are bugs, they'll get fixed, etc. So I'm in the next 2-3 weeks, I'm just going to say that because I cannot remember the specific dates, but in the next 2-3 weeks, NEAR is one of the chains that is done. Everything's ready. Final testing of the solver, and it will get released into production. And David, this is via SDKs, etc. Like when I'm talking right now, unless I say front end, all I'm saying is like the integration's done, everything's done, SDKs are published, it is ready for partners to just go in and switch on if they choose.
Yep. So that's the material difference between the SDK on the one side and this website called sodax.com/swap, where you can swap around assets. And in a future, NEAR will arrive there as well. Is it?
Yeah, totally. In fact, like the good thing here is like because all the work is done, to actually then turn it on the SODAX front end. I reckon not long. Worst case, 2 days. One day to get it done, and the second day just to test to make sure it all works, because it has to all work. It's literally just making sure nothing breaks. So but that hasn't been the focus right now, because the focus on the front end has been, let's get Save, let's now get the staking, let's get the LP piece, which I will put on the board, and I can quickly update on, and then we can circle back and start adding chains, unless a spare resource comes up and I'll get a few chains activated. But yeah, anyway, let's keep moving. So NEAR, Redbelly is another chain. I'll keep it quick because I've been waffling. I've talked about this. So again, Redbelly's all done, and it's going through that final solver testing phase. So it's Redbelly, Kaya, NEAR, these 3 chains specifically, all the work is done. It's just now the solver components are getting pushed into staging to go through their final testing. And when that's done, all the releases can happen in the SDK, etc.
There's like a big line of releases that were all behind that big solver update. Fez, what is a Redbelly?
Redbelly is a blockchain and apparently a snake, like it's a venomous snake over here. Is that what you wanted to know, David?
That's what I wanted to hear. See, at the start, I thought it was a funny name for a network, but then when I Googled Redbelly, it's a really cool looking snake, and I realized it's from, where that network's from, down under, and it all made sense. I just wanted to hear it from you, hear it from the source.
Yes. You got to be careful. They're just flying Redbellies everywhere in Australia. You step out. That's what people actually believe, David. So I'm just confirming their fears.
This is what we all know. Yeah.
Okay. Let's keep moving. Kiwa, no updates there. And this is just, it's the upbit layer 2. When they give dates of their launching, we will be ready. I don't have any updates on these 2 pieces, with most of the work going as we've stopped on new features for the moment to focus on stability on existing features, and that's been the sole focus. So I've already talked about this. The next one, which you've heard, is the SODAX AMM solver, which I gave detailed updates. SODAX savings front end, we've talked. All these are the same. I should have just gone straight down here because it's got both the dates, Q4 and Q1. Okay, so this one, is this what you were, the layer 0 integration? So the update on this is, I don't have a new update. It's more the core of the work is done, and once we get NEAR, Redbelly, Kaya, this is also then will be one of the things that gets tested, because this, along with for NEAR intents that we're building, we need to integrate the Omni bridge, and so we'll do that testing for this. But the work is done. We just have to find time now to finish off the testing post the releases of the backlog of chains, to then have the solver be able to bridge via layer 0 which is something I think I've talked through in a past update. So this is at a solver level. The solver would be able to, for example, Redbelly have launched integrated layer 0. They've launched their Redbelly token on Base and Ethereum. So our solver can potentially use layer 0, use their liquidity pool on Redbelly. So if a user on Basis, say on a site, and say Redbelly launch a site, hey, what chain do you want? You can buy an asset delivered on what chain? Our solver can be integrated. The user picks Base. They want to swap whatever to Redbelly token on Base. Our solver will source the liquidity from the best point, which would naturally be the Redbelly chain, because that would be the hub of its token's liquidity. Do the swap so the user gets a good rate, and then bridge via layer 0, and then part of that bridging, it burns it and then mints it on Base, delivering the asset in the layer 0 OFT standard to the user, as that is what Redbelly wanted, and that's what the user swapped. So that's what this integration enables. I'm quite excited about this because it opens up a world of possibilities. And as I've talked about, like when we're talking to partners, etc., it's not about use our token standard. They can't. We don't have a token standard. It's like we just make liquidity far easier. But this opens up, hey, if you've integrated layer 0, if you want their tokens on your chain, do it. Our solver will then route the liquidity from other chains to your chain, because liquidity is the hardest part, right? Like this is the problem child. Like, hey, I have a new chain. I want all these assets. Great. I have all these assets now, but now I have to suddenly worry about liquidity for each of these assets I have on my chain that I make easy for my user base to access, but there's no liquidity, so they're getting screwed over. And we solve that. Anyway, questions there, David? I'll keep moving.
No questions. I'd love to hear more, but I know that we're going to be talking about that very soon too.
Okay. And the partner dashboard, so this one was a simple, when partners set everything up in the SDK, they nominate a wallet where all their fees go. So part of this is what we're trying to do is build a dashboard where, because these fees, they come in, and when you load up the wallet, you won't see them, basically, because they come in like, I don't even know, this token, the way the token is denominated on the Sonic chain, and it looks like you're building your wallet doesn't pick it up, but if you went to the tracker, you'll see like, hey, you have like 100 million of some token. And what the partner dashboard does is creates a space for the partners to sign in with that wallet, and then it'll give them the ability to nominate where they get their fees sent to, and it will do the conversion for whatever token, those tokens into, like, hey, those tokens actually are USDC or ETH or SODA tokens, and it will present them, and then they can do another click and it will do the swap and send their fees wherever they want. So that's the initial one, V1. In fact, it's ready for me to test. So I'm looking forward to testing it. So that should be out soon as well. And then future iterations of the partner dashboard will be about putting in content that's relevant to the partners. So you saw those in the podcast before this. If you watched about the solver, you saw this sick dashboard. So we'll be able to modify things and start putting it into this partner portal where partners can go in and track their volume, their intents if they have problems, to find the exact intent that's gone wrong, etc., to help them troubleshoot if there are issues. So yeah, I think that's here. I know we have two other things to discuss, David. One was I promised a sneak peek for the save.
Yeah.
And
What's two?
Two, you wanted to, didn't you tell me, hey, Fez, Redbelly variants, soda variants. Yeah. Not Redbelly variants. Oh, they're not. I don't know if they're multiple variants of actual Redbelly snakes, but Jesus.
Now I want to talk about the SODAX Save because I want to see it.
Okay. You want to see it? Let me share my screen. It's in a different part. Give me a moment. I think this is it. Here we go. Is it coming through, David?
Yes, sir.
Unfortunately, I don't. Zoom in more? Yeah. So I haven't got a wallet connected, but I think this needs to change because we've got more networks now. So yeah, everyone knows the swap, everyone knows the migrate, and here we have the beautiful save feature. Now don't I know the 66%, David, I've fallen for it 3 times. Okay, I've gone in there and I've thrown my USDT, and long story short, there's not much USDT on the money market, so when you go and put it in, it drops instantly, so don't fall for it. Okay, the money market, so I haven't connected a wallet, so at the moment you can see over here how the money market works. So this is basically all the chains, all the views, some new chains, USDT, USDC, they're all bundled in. So if you go in, now I haven't got connected, so if I see my thing, pick your network. So very familiar UI interface. Like if you've used Swap, this is how it works. So instead of showing 100 different USDCs, it's all nice clumped together. You click on it, you expand, you can see the interest rate, you can see the total deposits. It will be very different if the wallet's connected in terms of it'll just pick up the assets you have showing you rather than lumping it. So here you go, I'll pick Arbitrum. If you haven't got something connected, you can simulate, because everyone loves a small simulation. So in this case, I think the simulation's capped at $10,000. So let's go that. And it will give you, the whole idea here is that you haven't got connected. You kind of want to get an estimate. Hey, if I throw $500 in, what kind of interest am I going to get? And you can see over here that this is giving me per month this much, which is worked out on the current interest rate. Okay, so if I wanted to connect my wallet then, and this looks like a great deal, so I'm going to go in and then you've seen it here. You can connect. I noticed the HANA piece is missing. See, this is the point of QA, so we'll get that HANA banner here, so you can just connect it with HANA in one go. And for some reason, even though I have HANA, this is my profile problem. It doesn't pick up HANA, it just picks up Ravi. Anyway, I'm not going to connect my wallet, but yeah, you connect your wallet and then you can supply your USDC, etc. to it. What's really cool, I have this on another profile, the testing profile, which would give a better indication, David, but it'll take me a moment to set up. So I can do that and show a sneak peek there. But say it's a multi-chain, right? So you've kind of got everything. You can filter by chain. So if it gets a bit too much, you're going to go, no, I can't deal with this. Let me just pick the chain I'm interested in. Let's say in this instance, it's SUI. And then bam, you're not looking at all the multi-chains, all the logos. It just isolates the view so you can really zone in and just do what's comfortable to you. So that's quite cool. And when you supply assets, then what will happen is you'll get these cool boxes up here with that specific asset. So in one of the chains, one of the wallets that I use for testing, I've got like $200 of every asset across all the different chains. So I've got a fleet of cards up here, a USDT card and a USDC card that shows me a combined interest rate for all, based on all the different USDC variants.
We'll see it. Can we pause? Can we pause and do some magic? Like, you know how they do the influencers? They go like, bam, and then they're back in a different country.
Well, yes, we can. So, as in, you can talk if you have anything you wanted to quickly talk about while I set up the profile on the other screen.
Right.
So is there anything you want to bring in, anything? Because, you've got a new role. You'd been kicking goals. I saw you drop an update on the growth and marketing stuff on X.
Did drop an update. Yeah. So we had like community members asking if we're going to do a structural monthly marketing update like we do with the tech update. We drop it every month. We talk to it every month. However, marketing, it's a bit of a different beast, and it doesn't have your very clear, deliverables like development might have. And even if we do, you can't just go out and talk about everything that you're talking about with partners and, stakeholders. It's just not something that you can go out and be 100% transparent with at the end of every month, because that would inherently damage what you're trying to achieve. So that doesn't work. I decided to instead just reflect at the end of the month, drop a personal update, talk through the feeling of what we did, I guess, for the first month at SODAX here in 2026. It's been mostly, as is written up in the update, it's been mostly about instating a structure and the system that we can work in. As a marketing team, it's been about getting website pages in shape and published. I think if you're hearing this now, you might be able to see those results already, but definitely in the next couple of weeks, we'll be shipping a lot of like online visibility, that kind of stuff. So not necessarily results that you can see today, but definitely results in our systems that you will see in the next, I guess, couple of weeks or months. So if you haven't read that update, just go to the X and look it up. And otherwise, just listen in here. We might talk about it anyway. Does that kind of cover your setup window, Fez?
Yes. Oh yeah. Oh, I'm done. Yeah. Well said.
Nodding away.
Oh my god! Well, we're getting some news, so I was like, well, we'll let you go. Okay, here we go. You can see it. Do you need me to zoom in a little bit more, David? Ooh,
yeah. So this is this the big wallet?
Yeah. So this is one of the testing wallets that I have, and there's assets, and you can see obviously it's connected, and there's a whole lot more going on. So maybe I'm too zoomed in here. Oh yeah, okay, on the screen. So, yep, in this I've connected all the chains, so you can see there's substantial amount of money, and because this also initially when we created all the infrastructure, we had to put assets into the money market, so then we could test the solver to make sure conceptually everything worked, right? So this is from that day everything, and then I use it. It's a great way to now kind of, as front ends are getting built, to test the front end. So you saw me earlier, I was talking about. Okay, so this is now with the connected wallet. So you can see same thing, everything looks the same. The difference here though is when I go to USDC and expand it out, now you can see something seems missing here, but you can see instead of it being closed, you can see that it's showing me the assets that I have in my wallet, although I have barely anything, but it's broken these up into whereas over here you can see, so see there's a bug here because it should show, yeah, it should be showing me everything, and this is why I go through QA, so that it's been fixed, but a new bug's been introduced. But essentially it will show you the assets split up if you have it in your wallet, and then it will pile together all the other ones that you don't have because they're irrelevant. Okay, so over here, same, if you're ready to earn, you can see over here now also showing ready to earn, where these are all the assets I have in my wallet, and then available for deposit. So these are like all the other assets we support, but obviously I don't have any of these assets in my wallet. Shame on me. Okay, then I've supplied, so this particular wallet, this is what I was talking about. Here you go, you've got these beautiful cards, and once you supply, you can see them in cards where you can scroll, or you got this nifty feature where it tells you all the assets you have, and you can actually click. If you click on Solana, it'll bring you to the Solana card. Click on USDC. So USDC is a good one. You can see I've got 1,500 USDC put in the market, but I have it. It's aggregated, right? So I've actually put 200 and 200 and blah 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 and so on and so forth, and then it gives me the total amount there. So it's
the
a multi-chain market.
The ultimate USDC hedge. Your that smart contract risk is just gone. Like,
oh, I am so diversified in USDC. Like,
you are, yeah.
But so that's there, and then you can then use these cards, like if once you have it, you can add more, and it'll take you down. Or the withdraw feature, I kind of like. I actually really love this. Something I was telling you, like, I want the deposit to look like this as well, because like, yeah, when you go to withdraw, the initial version, it's like it just tracks what you put in. You can withdraw back out on the chain you have, and here you go. Like it splits up everything into the various denominations that you supplied it. So I can pick then Arbitrum and hit continue, and then off I go. And when I hit continue, it'll just withdraw my USDC to Arbitrum, and I'm done. Yeah, so that's a bit about the money markets. Again, if it gets a bit like, if it's just too much, hey, click on the chain and then you can see. And basically that only filters the bottom, because over here you can use the arrows or filter by what you've supplied, and that's what shows up. So same thing for these assets and so on. Any questions here, David?
Easy as. No. This is look, this is a cross-chain money market. You can deposit collateral anywhere. You can borrow against your collateral anywhere. That
yes. So and on that note, like one thing that I wanted to call out here was, and I've just lost my train of thought. Dang it! But
you were going to tell me that we can only deposit because this is savings environment.
Yes, that was yes, that. But what I wanted to call out is, so the interest rate, like, okay, so at this point there's no interest rate in USDC, and I mentioned why. Like we haven't, remember, there's been no front end, etc. So essentially, what happens is, there's USDC on all these chains, right? Our USDC and USDT and any of these assets that are shared on multiple chains will all have the same interest rate, regardless of what chain you're on. Kind of like a unified interest rate, because again, it's a hub and spoke infrastructure. So, for example, if a user on SUI supplies to our money market and our interest rate is 3%, just in this hypothetical, it'll be 3% on all the chains, because what a user's really doing is they're supplying on their chains, and it's going into the money market on Sonic, and that's where the interest. So based on how much demand and borrow is happening on the one market, that's what's generating the interest. And so that's all I'm trying to call out here. It's kind of like all these assets, the reason why you're just seeing different chains, but you're not seeing different interest rates like you would if you went to, like if you actually went to Aave right now on Ethereum, Arbitrum, AVAX, USDC actually has a different interest rate on all of them. Like some of them by point something percent, or 0.5%, etc. But they are different. We won't be that. Like we will basically, whatever the arbitrage happens on USDC, all the chains will get that standard interest rate, which is cool because it opens up opportunities. Like you're seeing things like vaults, etc. So essentially, we can go onto a new chain and kind of, or if, like for example, Stellar is doing some initiative with USDC, which Hannah's taking advantage of. Now, potentially we could build, either a user could just use our markets and arbitrage, which will then see suddenly our USDC rates go higher across all chains. Because some users arbitraging, borrowing USDCs, placing it in the money market on Stellar, that's giving them the 12%. And when they keep looping it, our money markets interest rates rise across all the chains. And I'm just trying to paint a picture of how it works, right? So there's lots of cool opportunity that pops up there. But anyway, I've gotten carried away. Okay, no money markets. The other thing you wanted me to talk about is variance. Do we have a quick 5 minutes to run through it?
Yep.
Ooh, that was an okay. I'm
going to go to the. We have 1.5 minutes. We can talk about variance next time. I want to talk about that separately in a separate context.
Okay. Let's leave it then. Yeah, that's it then. I will.
That brings us to the end of the update. Well, in that case, we actually did manage to keep it under 40 minutes. Well done. I know we set out for 20.
Did we?
Nah, there's always enough to, I guess, show and tell. Eager to get it moving. That's the end of this update. Thanks for listening. If you're still here, you are now entirely up to date, and we'll see you soon. See you on the next one. Don't forget to like and subscribe and follow, and like and subscribe and follow and like. All right. Thanks. Bye.
Okay, everyone. Bye.